So, for my evaluation question three, how did you use media technologies in the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages? Well, first of all, I used a range of different technologies, different media platforms, as well as softwares and hardware as well, actual gadgets. So, first of all, I'll probably start from the beginning to the end. So, I'll start with the research. For research, it was mostly computer based. It was using a lot of the media platform YouTube for research, definitely where I was able to find my music choice. A friend of mine showed me the music video, and then kind of my ideas ran with that. Um, a few other things, just like first of all, my blog is a media platform. It's on the internet. It's using the Max computers, which we have at our school, and this was similar to last year. Well, exactly the same. Using our bloggers and the media technology was simply just the internet. What we can do with the internet now is allow me to use YouTube. It's allowed me to go on Google Images. It's everything we need really, and it's allowed me then to access everything else, which the computer does, which has helped me in my editing and my filming as well, and evaluation stages. So a variety of things really. I mean, I've had a massive amount of help from the computers. That's probably been the main source of media technology, because it's allowed me to do all of these things really, and I won't be able to do any of them without the computer. Um, but yeah, research mainly constructed of YouTube. Yeah, just like analysis, seeing what works in music videos, what we like. Codes of conventions again. This is using, for example, SlideShare, which is another platform which allows me to put slideshows in to my blogger and insert them through that way. And it's just a really effective way to do things. This way I can just illustrate my research, my ideas cleanly, in a simple way where an examiner will be able to go through start to finish and literally look at my platform and see what it is they like, what it is I'm going wrong. And I think it's a great way, um, definitely in terms of like showing my ideas. Get back onto these later in terms of the technologies I used. That's a Lumix camera. Yeah, like even for example using SlideShare, I did my treatment. My treatment was much more, I say, my planning. My planning was to do with what I wanted my music video, who I wanted to have, how I wanted to do it. This gave me an easy way. If it's similar to my music video, it's starting from the outside. We go in, glass of wine, they're together having fun, an argument breaks out, glass ends up breaking, she storms away, we see her walking away in the red dress, flutters in the wind a bit, he gets really angry, whatever, we see this all, the messages, top of the hill, where she's going to be, and then her in the car. And it's just an easy way that I can just illustrate all of my ideas. Definitely SlideShare is a great one for that, via LinkedIn, I think. And yeah, in terms of research and planning, it was solely based, I'd say, on looking at my last year's products, looking at this year, how it needs to be developed. Literally, I think using the internet, using all the different platforms we have on the internet, it allows us to do what we want really, and explain our ideas to you. I say, if I go through, definitely in terms of technologies, I wasn't able to use the selfie stick at one stage because it was actually taken on holiday by one of my family. I did use this. This how allowed me to walk with the camera and keep it stable. It wouldn't have any shakes, and then I could use editing software and other media technology, Final Cut Pro, to then put on edits like Smooth Cam to make it a much more smoother shot, to have less like shaking going on. And again, I had to use lights at some point. Sometimes I didn't have access to the lights, so I had to use natural light, or I would change the iOS on the camera, which I'll go back to later. Tripods again for a stable shot, but if I go on to actually the camera now, there was features of iOS. I think it's iOS or yeah, it's iOS, and that allowed me to change, I think, is the light exposure. So when I was out in Ali Pali and I had all this great light, but my camera was not picking it up, I changed the iOS and I was able to get a much clearer shot, but still have the dark, bright lights of London City in the background, the skyline, and loads of different factors of this piece of kit, which are digital technology, which helped me massively. Not only is the great camera quality, the insane camera quality, I had a great zoom, which meant if I ever wanted to zoom into a shot but not be too close, say my shadow was in the shot, it allowed me to do so. Um, I was able to just manually change the light if I wasn't able to adjust it enough. I was able to do it from -3 to 3, 0 being where it's on +1 now, but allowed me to just like be much more versatile with my shots. Like if I had a certain angle which didn't let in so much light exposure, I could change it or adjust it, and that helped me to get the shot I wanted. Car, I don't suppose we can count as digital technology, but again, using like internet platforms just allowed me to gather images and really sort of like illustrate my idea as much. Like we've got the cab scene, we've got the man running, them arguing, them making up the skyline, broken glass, and literally like using the internet platforms such as Final Cut Pro. If I can find Final Cut Pro now, we'll go on to mine. That was a great. Last year, I think I did use Final Cut Pro. If not, then it was iMovie. But this Final Cut Pro had much more you can do with things. iMovie is quite restricted. You can only put things together, slap on minor effects, whereas Final Cut Pro was literally jam packed with everything we kind of need. It's just a bit harder to work with. Let me see if I can find mine. So the finished one. So yeah, in terms of the construction, I was able to put all of my shots. I've got a massive range of shots going from the first scene we have here
You don't need
to all the way down here where we've got the scene in the car. And all the way through we can see this clear development of the story. And this just allowed me to be versatile with what I wanted to do, especially in terms of putting it together, chopping and screwing. I do anything for you. That, even just these small things like that, can be much harder on software such as iMovie, whereas Final Cut Pro really gives you this sort of professional feel where you have full control of what you're doing. And yeah, that's definitely the media technology that helps me in my construction the most, other than my camera, and then transferring the camera through onto the computer. That was just using a memory card. The memory card is best if you put into the computer first and then save it onto documents and then import it that way rather than directly from the card, because then it's a bit unstable, the footage. It's not as reliable, and you might lose it at some stage. So yeah, that was a great way, again, using YouTube to get my music video, put it in for the soundtrack, easy as. It's great. And in terms of my evaluation stages, that was much to do with QuickTime Player. QuickTime Player, I found, has always allowed me to talk about my ideas. It's allowed me to illustrate. I'm able to go from here, which is remind me of the question, through here and go and check out all my blog posts. I have them all in front of me, and then be able to jump into things like Final Cut Pro to give just quick indications of my ideas and what I'm on about. But yeah, like things like this in iMovie are much harder. If I have phase going across the thing, it allows me to have like two images at once. This is really effective in terms of my construction. It gives a sort of professional feel, which is what I've always been trying to go for. And yeah, I think this is how I've used media technologies in constructing, research and planning evaluation stages. Very much so the computers. The computer is like the hub for everything. That is the main media technology I believe that helped me in mine. but also PowerPoint. I also used Adobe Illustrator for my Digipack, and a few other things. But this was definitely the main. Final Cut Pro and the computer. If I didn't have either, then I'd find it very hard. So that is how I used media technologies in the construction, research, planning, and evaluation stages of my media product. And I hope you enjoyed it.